Alex here with Sports the Nemo Way, episode number 7. Welcome back, everyone. We are here today to discuss Chris Bosh, the very harshly judged star from the 2000s. I will be the one defending him as I am the only one to put him on my list. But before I start, let's overview his career a little bit. The 6'11", 235-pound power forward played for the Toronto Raptors and Miami Heat, winning 2 titles with the Heat, never winning an MVP. He's an 11-time All-Star, 1-time All-NBA, played 13 seasons in the NBA after being drafted number 4, with career averages of 19, 8, and 2 on 49% shooting. Now I will begin my own case. Chris Bosh, I would divide his career into 3 portions. The first portion, the Toronto portion. He put up big numbers as the number 1 option on a Toronto team carrying a trash roster to multiple playoff appearances, where statistically his best teammate was TJ Ford. And I bet Drew doesn't even know who that is either.
I do not.
Yes. And he's not very good. Then, though, he shifted gears and showed his unselfishness and took a back seat to LeBron James and Dwayne Wade being the third option on their team of the Big Three Heat, and anchored their defense. Then Bosh, again, for the betterment of the team, completely changed his game and became a 3-point shooter to help space the floor for 2 guys, again, James and Wade, who also couldn't shoot and needed space in the lane. So he became purely a perimeter offensive player, costing himself statistics like rebounds because he's standing in 3-point land, and then being labeled soft by fans due to this. Then LeBron leaves, and Bosh finally becomes the number 1 option again. Not Dwayne Wade, Chris Bosh. And his career ends because he gets a heart condition and he can't play in the NBA anymore. So that being said, I think it shows a couple of things. First off, very versatile player. He literally went from Toronto, where he really wasn't shooting threes at all, to a 37% 3-point shooter later in his career with Miami. That's a fact. It's right here.
He's a 33% 3-point shooter. He's not that good, Alex. Keep going.
No, I said for 1 season he shot 37%.
You told me that Kawhi Leonard had 1 good season. It doesn't matter, so keep going.
All right. Anyway, what I'm saying is he showed a versatility to play different roles, and he adjusted multiple times for the betterment of his team to help them win. Also, a few other things to remember about Chris Bosh. Everybody remembers Ray Allen hitting the game winner in Game 6 against the Spurs. Chris Bosh is the guy that got that rebound and passed it to him. But also, the Spurs got the ball back after that play. Now, does anybody remember what happened?
No, I don't think I do.
I think Chris Bosh played some good defense.
Chris Bosh blocks the shot and steals the game. I don't know why nobody remembers that. I didn't even remember it until I looked it up. Eric Spoelstra said that Chris Bosh was the most important player on the Heat's title teams due to his versatility on defense and his unselfish attitude. Also, Bosh is 83rd all-time in points per game, 10th among power forwards. And 3 of those guys are currently playing, so that's going to fluctuate. But one of those guys is Blake Griffin, who looks like a shell of himself currently and can barely stay on the floor, so his is definitely on its way down. Even though Chris Bosh's career was cut short by a heart condition, he is 129th all-time in rebounds and 113th all-time in blocks. That's my opening statement.
Well, who wants to start?
I'll go. Again, I like Chris Bosh. I especially liked him with the Raptors. And I thought at the time and still now that going to the Heat wasn't his best choice. I think had he not gone to the Heat, he wouldn't get his 2 titles, but I think he might have been on my list. Because the way he started with the Raptors, I thought he was going to be a top 50 player. But I think he kind of faded when he went with the Heat. I mean, you become the number 3 on the team. You look at his peak rebounds, 10.8 per season, similar to one of my bottom 2 guys, Anthony Davis. His peak points, 24, which is what Anthony Davis averages for his career. I gave Chris Bosh a lot of consideration to be in my top 10. He just didn't quite make it. And I really do think that going to Miami, while it got him 2 rings, hurt his overall career. And he did show some versatility. But is it versatility? I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I just meant his versatility as in he completely remade his game into a 3-point shooter after not being a 3-point shooter.
He was a jump shooter. His 3-point shot got better. I will admit that.
I know you said that nonsense earlier about one good season that didn't make any sense. But what I was saying was he improved his 3-point percentage until he peaked at 37%.
Yeah, that's what I said.
No, you said some
He
nonsense.
was a
that
very
didn't make
good
any
jump
sense.
shooter, and he improved his 3-point shot over time. But something that kind of caught my attention when I got to looking at his stats is we just talked about James Worthy 4 episodes ago, 5 episodes ago.
Right.
When he became a number 3 option, his numbers were worse than James Worthy, which kind of caught my attention. As a number 3 option, who you thought Tom Chambers was better than. So
I actually asked the question.
And in the
Tom
easier
Chambers
era.
was, but
Anyway,
anyway.
it's kind of a little torn.
What
part-
numbers were better than Chris Bosh's? I'm just interested because I mean he has better numbers, so I was just wondering what numbers.
16-6, 16-6, 18-8.
Which one are you talking about?
18-8. Talking about years as a 3 option for Miami.
That's what I meant. Worthy or Bosh is what I meant.
Bosh. These are Bosh's numbers.
Yeah.
That's what I was saying.
You're saying he averaged.
He's saying that Bosh's numbers with Miami are worse than Worthy's numbers when he was winning LA.
When he was the third
16 and
option.
6 is what you're saying? So you mean James
That was
Worthy's
his
career
last
numbers?
Alex,
No,
I can
James Worthy's numbers are better than the 16 and 6 he's talking about, which
that's
is
what I'm
what
saying.
Bosh
Six-
did.
He
It's
was
the
16
third
and 6.
option. James Worthy was better than Chris Bosh. He put up better numbers in a harder era. And you hated James Worthy. So.
No, I didn't hate James Worthy. I just said he wasn't a top 50 player. Don't put words in my mouth. All I'm saying is, all I was saying is that 16 and 6, I believe, are James Worthy's career numbers.
Yeah, which is what Chris Bosh averaged last year with LeBron and Dwayne Wade.
His last year. Yeah, okay.
Okay, I mean, we can talk about his 19 points a game, 20 points a game, 17 points a game, 19, 20, 21, 21. I mean, that was just one small comparison. It was just one small. We don't have to argue about just one thing. Oh, goodness gracious. Pretty much, I mean, I really wasn't trying to focus on James Worthy. It was just one small point. But with Chris Bosh, I think Chris Bosh is pretty genuinely considered a very good player. I just don't really think he's considered a very great player.
Did he have any defensive player of the year? All defensive teams?
No defensive player of the year. No.
Okay.
He has no all defensive teams, no defensive player of the years. He only has one All NBA team. So it means he was top 3 at his position once. That's not very good. That's like Charles Oakley stuff.
No,
That's
it's not
very
It's-
good.
It's actually not. He has.
Alex, it's a joke. Relax. The 2-time NBA champ is a third wheel. Championships are important. Being a key part of that is you can't take anything away from it. But it's no more impressive than James Worthy. 11 All-Star appearances. That's impressive. That is more than James Worthy.
I think more than double, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's also half a popularity contest. So it's all right. He put up very good numbers in Toronto. Very good numbers in Toronto, but not on a very good team.
James Worthy had 7 All-Star appearances.
Oh, so yeah, so it's 11-7. Well, that's not too bad. Yeah, I don't know one All NBA team really stuck with me. Two championships as the third wheel kind of stuck with me. Overall, just career stats, what really kind of stuck with me is you told me I couldn't count Kawhi stats, which I didn't try to talk about Kawhi stats. You did.
No, I didn't say you couldn't count.
You kept
Kawhi's
telling me I
stats.
couldn't count him because he hasn't finished his career to make all the stats go down.
That's not what I said at all. You're making that up.
No, that's not true.
No, I said he doesn't appear on the top 250 on all the lists. Is
Well,
what
it
I
has to
said.
do with games played. But anyway, back to the playoff stats. I talked about being all-time great, like third all-time. You told me, well, it'll go down as he ends his career. Well, Chris Bosh ended his career at 31 years old at the end of his prime. So you can't count his stats. You can't count anything he accomplished because he had the end of his career.
None of what you said just made any sense, so I don't even know what to argue about.
Alex, you spent 40 minutes talking about games played with Kawhi Leonard. Don't go down this alley.
I talked about how he misses a ton of games. I don't know what the hell that
You
computes.
brought up career stats. If you don't play a lot of games, you don't have a lot of career stats, Alberta. It kind of goes hand in hand. That was your only argument.
No, it wasn't. Maybe you should listen to the episode again, maybe because that's not my only argument.
What was your argument then?
I don't want to argue about Kawhi Leonard again.
Yeah.
I'm gonna agree with Alex a little bit. Chris Bosh did play key roles in those 2 titles teams. No, because he did. Because that call is James LeBron misses a 3. Bosh is down there, gets the rebound,
gets the
the rebound and the assist to Ray Allen. And then he goes down and blocks a shot. In a matter of like 10 seconds, he gets 3 key stats: block, assist, and rebound.
Good plays. Good plays.
You didn't see LeBron playing defense down there after he missed a 3 or hustling for a rebound. You saw old Bosh down there.
Are you comparing LeBron to Chris Bosh?
No, I'm not comparing LeBron to Chris Bosh. I'm just saying LeBron wasn't down there. He had one of the people he ruined. He probably ruined Chris Bosh's career a little bit, making him third fiddle.
Are you talking about LeBron?
Yeah, he's
Oh,
ruined
Yeah,
him.
that's kind of what I was saying. I really think that Bosh would definitely be in my top 50 had he not gone and played with Wade and LeBron.
And honestly,
I thought at the time he should have stayed away from
Well,
that.
here's the thing with the big three was whenever LeBron or D Wade missed time, whether injuries or rest or whatever it was, Chris Bosh played really, really well. He stepped up. He filled the second role well. And like, was it the second title run they had, or maybe it was the loss to Spurs? I can't remember which. D Wade missed quite a bit of time because he had a knee situation, and Bosh was really the second best player because D Wade wasn't there most of the time. You know, he was filling that second role for him, and still playing very good defense for him. He didn't. He was still, blocking some shots, but he didn't block a ton of shots at that time because he was out playing on the perimeter again. He was out switching on defense and run all over the floor, and they were playing Birdman down low.
old Birdman. I forgot about him.
Jonas Haslam.
But I agree with you. He's a monster in Toronto. But then if we go back to last episode with Charles Oakley, then we get into this role player differential. I mean, he does score more points, but is he more than a role player? I don't think so. Not for Miami.
He was a role player in Miami?
Yeah.
I disagree.
16-6.
Are you picking on his worst season? Is that what you're doing?
No.
You're just like picking up his worst season and keep repeating it?
He played 4 seasons with LeBron. 2 of them were 16-6. That's 2 out of the 4, big boy. Then he had 18-8, and 18-8, and 6-6, and 6-6, or 16-6. I'm sorry, 16-6, 15-6.
Anyway, go ahead, continue. Greg.
But anyway, he went from being the top dog on a team to being third fiddle on a championship team, but he was still a role player on the championship team.
So does that make James Worthy a role player?
I mean, at some point, there's going to be role players and there's going to be role players, but are they good enough to be the role player on a top 50 list?
I don't know. I don't view Chris Bosh as a role player. I don't view James Worthy as a role player, for that matter. we're the third best player on a championship team became different recently because we've developed all these super teams. I don't view Klay Thompson as a role player, even though he was the third best player on those Warriors teams with Durant and Curry. I don't view Ray Allen as a role player, even though he was the third best player on those Celtics teams. I guess I just don't look at it that way.
Well, I mean, I guess maybe not role player per se, but I mean, is he really above Wade, LeBron? Is he really?
I don't think he's above Wade and LeBron.
Is he? I mean,
as they both made my list, and they're both higher than me. Chris Bosh is actually the 50th player on my list.
I'm trying to word it right, but like he could have been so much better, like Doug was saying, if he would have stayed with Toronto. But once he went to Miami, after that I couldn't see putting him on any kind of list whatsoever.
Maybe. I guess I'm not saying he was ever going to be this player, but would we look at him the same if his career path followed, say, Karl Malone? And I mean that by as in he never won. He wasn't putting up Karl Malone type numbers. I'm not saying he was.
Right.
But I mean, if he was still going to go out there and average 22 points and 10 rebounds year in, year out for 12 years, but was a first round playoff knockout most of the time, are we judging him for that then?
He's a good player on a bad team, probably. Which, to a certain extent, you get recognition. But I think after a while, you just get forgotten about. Are you Zach Randolph? Are you Elton Brand? Like, that's just how it goes. I mean, those are really, really good players. They average 20 and 10 or 18 and 10 or whatever, and then they just get forgotten about because they didn't win, or they didn't get accolades, or they got beat by Tim Duncan or Dirk, or so on and so forth. It's not that they're bad. I wasn't saying Chris Bosh was bad. He was really good. He put really good numbers in, but he was a good number guy on a really bad team. And then he went to a really good team and had team success, but he was third fiddle in his stats. Why I really don't get his rebounds. He was averaged 6 rebounds as a 7-footer. I don't understand.
I explained that.
He played center on some of their formations, Alex. He was their center for like 20 minutes a game.
I know.
Birdman didn't play not even half the game. How do you average 6 rebounds?
You gonna let me talk? Or?
No, go for it.
But he on offense, he stood in 3-point land.
Alex,
You can't get on rebounds out there. That takes away all your offensive rebounding
people
potential.
get 78% of the rebounds on defense.
No, I 100% agree. But if you just take away 2 rebounds a game, I don't know what offensive rebounds per game are overall. But I can look here. You know, he was getting 2.5, 3, 2.5, 2, 3 until he left. So let's just say 2.5 is his average right there. Now you're almost at 9 rebounds a game.
Better, but it's still down. All right, what's his offensive rebounds with Miami?
With Miami, his offensive rebounds, 1, 1, 1, 1, almost 1.
So his rebounds total go down to anywhere from 4 to 5, and his offensive rebounds down to 1 to 1.5.
Right.
So he's still rebounding less for no reason.
Well,
and first of all, you referenced him leading the defense. He was the 3rd, maybe 4th best defender on the team. LeBron, D. Wade, and Shane Battier, maybe Udonis Haslem were all better defenders than him. So that's questionable.
Well, I don't agree with all of that. I mean,
you don't think LeBron James and Dwayne Wade are better defenders than Chris Bosh?
Well,
or Shane Battier was Defensive Player of the Year. Go ahead. I mean, you can defend it. Go for it.
No, I don't believe Dwayne Wade was a better defender than him. And I don't think, although he's on my list, I don't think anybody here has any proof that Dwayne Wade was a good defender at all. I do think LeBron James is a good defender. Shane Battier was a defender, defensive specialist. Sorry,
yeah,
he who played a small role on their team. Yes, but I was just basing that off, Eric Spoelstra, who said that he was the linchpin in of their defense, and they wouldn't be able to run this defense without him because of his versatility and be able to move his feet because he guarded guards and big men and was moving all over the place. Again, another reason he didn't rebound as well is because he was out on the perimeter.
Oh, well, that's it. That's why they hired Birdman to block shots, because he wasn't a rim protector. He couldn't block shots.
That's just factually incorrect, but okay.
Alex, his highest blocks per game was 1.4, and that was with
So he can't block
Toronto
shots,
when
right?
he did whatever he wanted. And he went to Miami where he was, loading the defense up by himself, and he averaged under one like 4 or 5 times.
So block shots are the only way you can be a good defender, right?
Oh, please feed into my argument from two episodes ago. Please feed
which episode?
feed the ammunition
Which
that is
episode
my
you-
argument.
Which episode are you talking about?
How there are more things than stats and going to a great player. Feed my argument, please. Feed the ammunition, Alex. Keep going.
What do you?
Did he do things that aren't on a stat sheet? Did he?
Probably.
Oh, well, you told me that doesn't matter with Kawhi Leonard.
No,
so.
I
Oh,
did not.
yes, you did.
You didn't bring that up until last episode, which was not Kawhi Leonard, which was our first episode.
We
so
can
you're about
replay
6
it.
episodes off.
I said something about him playing great defense, and you said, oh, so he does something that you can't track on a stat sheet. And that's what you said in the first episode of this entire podcast. So, yes. Don't backtrack on what you say. He can't protect the rim.
No,
He's a terrible rim protector. He averaged 1.0 blocks per game for his career.
So what?
And
what-
less than one
what is-
steal.
What is the number that makes you a good rim protector? Then?
I don't know. I'm waiting for you. You're the stat protector, big boy. I'm the one that talks about people that do
Why are
other
you so?
things than
Why are you
stats.
so pissy? Why are you so
I'm
upset?
pissy?
Did
Because you're backtracking on what you talk about. That's
no,
what I'm
you're-
talking about.
You're rambling. And I can't follow it.
That's fine.
Well, here, let me break in for just a second. That's part of the reason why I asked if Spoelstra said that he was the key to the defense and so good. That's why I asked if he was all defense, because Dwayne Wade was
And
like
Chris
3
Bosh
times.
wasn't.
all defense team, and Chris didn't. Again, I like Chris Bosh, but I really think going to Miami hurt him.
Chris Bosh didn't accomplish that in Toronto.
I know that. Yeah, you're right, but maybe that. Well, he might have developed, but we can't talk about what ifs.
Maybe he was that good at defense, but playing in Miami with behind D Wade and LeBron, they said, oh, D Wade will give him defense and not Bosh, just because he's playing third fiddle and not 1 or 2 by himself.
Maybe. I mean, the NBA does tend to give awards to names sometimes, in my opinion. And maybe so. Maybe Bosh was a better defender than I thought. But that is one way we can measure that to some extent. I know blocks isn't the only thing. Steals isn't the only thing. But if you make the all-defensive team, that would be something you could measure.
It's true. He doesn't have any all defensive teams, so I can't make that argument. I just thought his career arc was interesting. He changed his game multiple times to benefit the team twice, so that they could win. I understand that some of his numbers are underwhelming. Apparently, he was a little bitch on defense, and it was a terrible, terrible, terrible defender. So, so hey, that's the case.
I don't think we were saying he was terrible.
No, you weren't. Wade was.
Okay.
No, I just turned a couple points.
No, you
that
did. You literally said the word
gave
terrible,
to me.
but
I
okay.
just turned around.
No, you didn't. You didn't make any sense.
Alex, let's not be ridiculous. 1 blocks a game doesn't mean much.
I mean, I don't know what you want me to say, man. How many shots do you need to block to be good at it?
Miles Turner is putting up 4 a game right now.
Well, if we're gonna bring up Miles Turner as an example over 12 games of a season, that's ridiculous.
I mean, it's just one example. I'm just throwing out there.
I was just bringing random points about Kawhi Leonard and James Worthy and all kinds of other stuff. And you got mad about it. It's fine. It's fine.
So, where do you have C Webb? Is C Webb on your?
No, you're the only one with C. Oh no, wait, somebody else.
I
Drew and you have C.
Okay. So that was C Webb, I believe, is my. Well, here Anthony Davis is my last power forward, and C-Webb had 9.8 rebounds to 8.5 for Bosh. 20.7 to 19.2 points. 1.4 steals to 0.8. And 1.4 blocks to 1. That's why I put C-Webb ahead of it.
Yeah, C-Webb passed a lot. Did C-Webb pass a lot? I don't know.
Yeah, he was a really good passer.
He had 4.2 assists, yeah.
Compared
To
to Bosh's,
for Bosh.
yeah.
So that's why I put C-Webb ahead of him. So I'm just telling you why. I mean, I like Chris Bosh, and he was in consideration for my top 10, but C-Webb and Anthony Davis beat him out.
Actually, C-Webb was my number 11. He just barely missed my power forward list. The things I didn't like about C-Webb, and it has to do with him being a number 1, was he's a choke artist. I mean, that's really where C-Webb is for his career, college and the pros. And just like Chris Bosh, his career was cut short by an injury, not a heart condition. But it was close for me. It was close. I liked C-Webb a ton when he was in the league. Actually, I liked him better than I liked Chris Bosh. I wasn't a big Bosh fan when he was in the league.
And you're right; they both did play like 800 and some games, so that was close there.
And then another thing Chris Webber did was he had 5-time All-NBA, and he was Rookie of the Year when he was. Chris Bosh was just he just made the All-Rookie team. Webber actually was Rookie of the Year.
So my other one is Anthony Davis, who I know has not played that long. So his numbers are probably, as we talked about earlier, you sometimes get some deflated numbers when you play longer because as you age, some of your numbers may go down. And Anthony Davis's may. But I still think he's in a pretty good arc right now. And we can discuss him later on. I'm sure he'll be coming up.
He should be coming up in the next few weeks. I'm not 100% sure where, but he just made 2 lists, right? Or is it 3?
He made my list. You make your list, Wade?
Anthony Davis?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, so it'll be a little while then if it's on
He's
3.
my-
If he's on 3
I
lists.
think number 9. I think I have Pettit.
Pettit.
Oh, by the way,
We
Bob,
made a whole episode about Pettit, and
but
now
no.
he's back.
no, I forgot to say in last episode, Bob Pettit has more rebounds than Charles Oakley. I forgot to say it last episode. I just want to point it out.
He's always got to get his credit
I
reference
saw it
in.
and I was like, I have to say it, guys.
Isn't Pettit like top 5 in rebounds?
He's actually number 18.
Oh, okay, my bad. I was off on that.
Drew is the Pettit man. I mean, my dad would be so proud of him.
I'm just saying, he's a bit of Charles Barkley, too, so Mr. Big Man Rebound.
Actually,
Round mound to rebound.
actually, I believe Barkley's farther down the list than you would think.
Yeah, he's at 20. I think 20 or 21.
Did he play forever, though? I don't know how long he played.
He retired in what, 90?
Yeah, I'm not sure how many
8,
seasons
something
he
like that.
played.
13, 14 years, maybe?
He came in at what, 84?
I was thinking Barkley played 14-15 because he played like 5 years for this team and 5 years for that team and 5 years for somebody else.
So he had Rockets, 76ers, and Suns.
Well, I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure he was pretty washed by the time he got to the Rock. I think he just didn't take good enough care of his body.
Wow.
He just couldn't hold up for a long period of time.
Too many things outside too.
Cheeseburgers.
Throwing people
Regular
through
pizza.
windows.
Yeah.
Yeah, Charles was fun.
Yeah, I mean, Barkley made all of our lists. He's on all of our lists, but
For sure.
Yeah, I don't know what the difference is there as far as where we put him. Not 100% sure.
Other guys, power forward wise, I'm trying to think of a good comparison where I would put with Bosh. Scored more than Gasol, but rebounded less. Amari Stoudemire, he's close with Amari Stoudemire. Points similar, rebounds similar. It's another guy that didn't quite make my list. Again, I liked Bosh, especially at Toronto. And he was an unselfish guy. I mean, he was able to work with LeBron and Wade when he went to Miami. But ultimately, for me, I think that hurt him.
So is that where we come down on that? My question from earlier was if he stays and puts up numbers on a bad team forever, he's looked at better than a guy that left and sacrificed and won championships?
I don't know.
I-
It kind of
It
depends.
depends on what kind of numbers he puts up in Toronto. As long as he doesn't get hurt, or if his numbers get any better for some of those prime years.
Well,
I
and
don't know.
maybe if they'd have got him some help, maybe he would have done more in Toronto. I mean, we just don't know. But he didn't necessarily have to go to Miami. Maybe he goes someplace and becomes the number 2, still puts up the big numbers, and still wins titles. I mean, sometimes we look at a guy and we say, "Oh, he sacrificed to win titles." Sometimes we say a guy went someplace to get a title with somebody else. And I'm not saying he necessarily did that. He definitely contributed to the team, but I think it hurt his overall look.
It hurt his personal stats in a way, besides getting titles. Everything else was hurt.
So let me ask you this. This is a little off topic, but we're still talking about the Big Three Heat. How did you all feel when the Big Three was formed?
I felt like LeBron, the way he went to the Heat was kind of bad. Not telling everyone and just going on national TV and getting together with everybody.
I don't really have. I mean, I think the players can go play wherever they want. I kind of agree with Drew. I didn't like the way he did it. It's definitely not something that they would have done in the 80s. You never would have seen Magic and Bird teaming up. Not that they didn't become friends, because they ended up being really good friends. But they wanted to beat the crap out of each other. And that was a different attitude to the 80s to today. And I think that's one thing that hurts today's basketball for me versus what it used to be. Because the guys today team up with as many guys as they can to guarantee themselves a championship. Instead of wanting to play against the very best, they want to play with them. It's just their choice, I guess.
Another example is when Kevin Durant and Westbrook, when they were playing the Warriors that one year in the Western Conference Finals, and they were winning 3-1, and then they choked, and then Kevin Durant leaves to go to the Warriors and says, well, I guess if I can't beat him, I might as well go join him and win. And that's basically what he did. Instead of trying to beat him the next year with Westbrook, work harder like Michael or Magic or Larry did, he just went and joined them. Magic and Larry would have never done that.
Yeah, that's a very valid point.
Yeah.
I mean, like today's NBA, the competitive spirit is not there anymore. It's all about a stat line and a trophy on your case. And that's what I miss about the 90s and the 80s. The competitive spirit to go against your rival is not there. It's to make friends in the off season, go fishing, and then have him come to your team at the beginning of next season.
So, personally, I think the Big Three, or if you want to call the Warriors a Big Four, era in basketball sucked. I hated it. I don't like knowing who's going to win the championship before the season starts.
Right.
I agree.
And I feel like, for the most part, that has been what we've had for quite some time now. Although this team, the team we're talking about, the Big Three Heat, made it interesting by choking away 2 of them.
I would say I think it kind of actually started right before that. I would say not through free agency, but just in different circumstances. I would say the Celtics started it. They had Pierce. They traded for Garnett and Allen. Rondo comes along and becomes. They had 4 All-Stars on one team, and then you get the Heat. The Heat are like, we can't compete with that, so we're going to form together. So then you have Dwayne and Chris Bosh and Braun plus a bunch of 3-point shooters, and they go and do their thing. And then I lost track of my thought. I'm sorry. And then LeBron goes back to Cleveland, teams up with Kyrie and Kevin Love to go with Draymond, Clay, and Steph. And then LeBron beats them, and then the Warriors just, again, one-up it. They just go, hey, well, we're going to go get the second best player in the world, and then we're going to come back and beat LeBron. And it was just a step-by-step system. I think it was literally just a big step up, until it got so ridiculous they had to break it up, and now we're reforming.
And now we're going with Kyrie, James Harden, Kevin Durant.
Yeah, that doesn't look pretty.
No. I don't know if they're going to get along, but they're just
I don't
trying
think
to
it works well at all. But
Well, I think the Celtics Big Three, like as in Garnett, Pearson, Allen, not like Bird, McHale, Parrish, goes back to what Ray said about competitiveness in the sport. The competitiveness, like let's look at the Lakers and the Celtics in the 80s. Yes, their players competed on the floor, but every year it seemed like one of the two of them ended up pulling off a crazy trade and getting the number one overall pick, even though they won the championship, or bringing in a big key free agent, because they were competing with each other too. The players were competing, the coaches were competing, and the front offices were competing.
If Len Bias doesn't die, it throws a giant loophole into everything.
I will say this.
Everything.
I'll repeat this. This comes straight from Bill Simmons. He says it all the time.
Yeah, I know.
Len Bias is the biggest what if in NBA history.
He extends everyone's career. He extends the Celtics dynasty. He probably fucks up the Lakers dynasty. And
Maybe.
yeah, maybe that's right. You never know what happens. Yeah, you're right. It's a very giant what if.
Oh yeah, Len Bias was a great player, and that
Oh,
was definitely a tragedy.
I mean, essentially, it's like, what if James Worthy died after he got drafted? And that's very
Right.
simple. You guys got the number one overall draft pick, even though you're already really good, and drafted the best player in the draft, and then he died, same night or the next night?
Yeah, what, cocaine.
Yeah.
Yeah, like cocaine overdose.
Wasn't Len Bias looked at as to be the next? Wait, what year was he drafted? 80, 88, 87?
I was going to say 86, but I'm not 100% sure on that.
It's
I don't
somewhere.
remember.
It's somewhere right there in that range. He got compared to he was supposed to be like the most athletic guy in the league and had a little bit of a touch, and he was supposed to be just this giant freak. Like he was supposed to be what Jordan came to be. Like he was supposed to be that.
Right. He was really
supposed to
good. I mean,
be
I watched him a lot in
the
college
boss.
when he played for Maryland, and he was a really good player. He wasn't going to be a Larry Bird or anything like that, in my opinion.
I never watched him. I don't know.
I mean, I watched him play at Maryland, and I really liked him. And I think he would have been a nice fit for the Celtics. Like I said, not another Larry Bird or Magic Johnson or something like that, but he was going to be good.
I just always saw clips of him just being a freak athlete, and people thought he was just going to be like the next Jesus. And I was like, okay,
Well, I'm not trying to
Cool.
bash Len Bias. I'm really not, because I've heard the same things you're talking
yeah,
about.
everybody thought he was.
But we tend, as a society, to inflate people if they pass away.
That's true. That's very true.
That's very true.
So maybe Len Bias was going to be a 12-time All-Star and be a really good player for a long time, and maybe he wasn't going to be Michael Jordan.
Yeah, that's a very good point.
You know?
What is that? That safety from the Redskins.
Sean Taylor.
Sean Taylor.
Yeah, he has documentaries and 30 for 30s and all that stuff. He was a very good hard hitting safety. He was very good. I'm not saying he wasn't good, but then
When he died, he became great.
he became the best safety of all time. Like it was like Ed Reed and Troy Polamalu never played. It was like, oh, okay. You look at his stats and he has like 42 tackles in a season. It's like, okay, cool. Like, he was really good. Yeah. But it's not like Alex had a good point. It's just like, okay. All right. Cool.
No, we completely got off on a side tangent here.
But that was an example.
but- The Celtics had some awful luck there, because not only did Len Bias die, Reggie Lewis died like 3 years later, right?
Yeah, I don't really remember what happened with Reggie Lewis. I just remember he was gone.
He's just gone.
Yeah, just vanished.
I mean, they had two players die within a few years of each other.
How did they get caught on the Celtics?
We were talking about big threes.
Oh,
because
okay.
I think we were pretty much
Oh,
done
yeah,
talking
yeah.
about Chris Bosh.
I think I said that. Okay.
So I guess we can give our closing statement for Chris Bosh.
We know the Celtics and Sean Taylor for.
Okay. Closing statement. I'll go first, I guess. Again, Bosh was really close to making my list. My two bottom guys were C. Webb and Anthony Davis, and I just thought that they were a little better than Bosh. Had he not ended up being in LeBron's shadow, he might have shined a little brighter, I think.
I'm gonna go along with my dad on that. I feel like if Chris didn't leave Toronto and going with LeBron and D-Wade. And maybe he gets a title in Toronto. Maybe he goes somewhere else and plays second fiddle. Maybe number one fiddle somewhere else with better role players or something. Maybe he gets a title on his own, or just maybe he wins an MVP, gets Defensive Player of the Year somewhere. Different accolade. Then probably going to make my top 50, averaging maybe 5-6 more points, averaging a couple more rebounds and stuff. But right now, I just don't think he's top 50.
Okay. Well, I guess it's my turn. No, I don't have anything against Chris Bosh. I thought he was a really good player. To me, though, being a center that stands at a three-point line just does not entice me whatsoever.
Doesn't Miles Turner stand at the 3-point line
No, never.
all game long?
No.
I'm pretty sure that's all he does on
He
offense.
just told you no.
No. Not if he's getting 4 blocks a game.
That's on defense.
Yeah. But somebody's got to rebound, and that's Miles Turner. But anyway, we'll agree to disagree on that one. But yeah, he's a really good player. He's not on my list. He's not physical enough for me. I don't know, he's just didn't come out of a shadow enough in Miami to show me something that I should put him on my list for. So,
I actually like Chris Bosh. I think he's really good. I think he's pretty well known as being a very good player. But I never really looked at Chris Bosh and was like, that's a great son of a bitch right there. Like that's the one. He was a really good player. He was versatile. He was good. But I just never really viewed him as an all-around great player. This is just kind of a fun stat, just because I literally just came upon it like yesterday, so let's go and throw it out there. It's like what was it? I think like 81st player ranked on ESPN's all-time rankings or something like that. So I think he's well known as a very good player. That's really just something I really came across the other day, so I still have there. But I think he's very good. I just don't think he's really a great player. I think he's just a very good player. But, I'll throw it to Alberta for his closing statement.
Well, this is my closing statement, but I'm going to say something here. Miles Turner shoots 4.5 3-pointers a game, and he averages 6 rebounds a game for his career and on the season. So I do believe he's carrying the team rebound. I believe that's the bonus. But he does spend a lot of time in 3-point land.
4 shots.
Well,
4 shots.
Considering he only averages like 11 points a game, I think that's majority of
I don't
the
think the
shots.
point was Miles Turner. Let's do your finishing statement.
Come on.
Honestly, I don't have any really strong feelings about Chris Bosh. He was my 50th ranked player. I knew it would come under harsh judgment when I put him on there. If you think back to the Big 3 time, he became a punchline. Everybody made fun of him and said he was the reason they lost their 2 finals. So I knew this would be an unpopular opinion. It's part of the reason I did it. Maybe Chris Bosh doesn't belong top 50, but it's not like I ranked him 31st or something. And
why?
You spelled it wrong.
You said bumping.
Definitely not. It's another guy.
Paul Arzen.
Paul Arzen.
Not right.
You said it too.
So I guess we'll just move on to trivia now. Does anybody have their trivia question ready?
Sure, I can go. Thinking about power forwards, I was thinking about rebounding. The top 12 rebounding games in history belong to Wilt Chamberlain and Bill Russell. Wilt has the highest one with 55. Bill follows with 51, and they go on down from there. My question is, who comes in after those first 12? Whose number has he actually tied with Wilt and Bill, but it's the first name besides theirs on most rebounds in a game.
Which is ridiculous. They have the top 12.
Yeah, you go down the list, there's like 12 of them. Whoever. This is most rebounds in a game.
I'll say Bob Pettit.
Sorry, Bob, but I'm going with Dennis Rodman.
I'm going to go Dennis Rodman myself.
I'm going to say Elvin Hayes.
It's actually Nate Thurmond. Had 42 rebounds in a game. Well, you got to remember the record is 55 by Chamberlain. And Russell's best, I think, was 51.
Which will never be broken.
Yeah, that's just crazy.
We have entire games now where there's not 55 rebounds.
Right. So, yeah, Nate Thurmond.
Holy moly.
Another old guy.
All right, I got one. What player has the most consecutive double-doubles in a season?
LeBron James.
Most consecutive double-doubles.
In a season.
Westbrook.
I'm going to say Karl Malone.
I'm going to say Westbrook.
Kevin Love
Ooh.
with 53.
Wow.
Was that with Minnesota? Do you know?
Yep, Minnesota.
Because he was a machine in Minnesota. Like, he had that one season where he seemed like he was going 20-20 every other night.
All right, I got one. Everybody's ready.
Yep.
What center holds the record for most three-pointers in a game?
You said center?
Center, yes, just center. Which, yeah, it gets a little tricky.
Made or attempted?
Made.
I'll say
They do throw a couple power forwards in there that fluctuate between power forward and center.
I'm going to go with Brook Lopez.
Okay.
Do they count Anthony Davis on this? So you go back and forth, or no?
I'll go with Dirk.
Ooh, I feel like I made a mistake.
Well, let's see if Alex will get this one right, but I'm going to go with Miles Turner.
Okay.
Joseph?
I don't know. I'll go Dirk, I guess.
Well, the funny part is Brook Lopez and Dirk are tied for second. Number one is Aaron Baines with 9.
Oh,
No
jeez.
way. Aaron Baines?
Really?
Was that last year? Because I thought Phoenix is the one that started making him shoot threes.
It was with Phoenix. Yeah, it was with Phoenix.
Well, we got second.
Dirk and Brook Lopez and Dirk were tied with 8 on the second spot. Which Dirk, I'm sure, played center off and on in different spots.
Right.
So,
Is that me?
Yeah.
All right, so I think it's fairly obvious that the top 2 players all time in triple doubles are Oscar Robertson and Russell Westbrook. Who's third?
I had 2 names come immediately to mind. I just don't know which one it is.
I'm going to guess Larry Bird.
LeBron or J. Kidd. I just don't know which one.
I'm gonna go with LeBron.
I'm going to go with LeBron.
Ray?
J. Kidd, yeah, fuck him.
Let's go with Jason Kidd and see what happens.
Jason Kidd. The correct answer is Magic Johnson.
Oh.
Yeah, I thought Uncle Doug would get that one, honestly, and then he's like Larry Bird, and I was like, oh, he's going to be mad.
LeBron has a ton, so I was really like, oh, it's got to be LeBron.
Yeah,
good question. Well, here you go. It's Oscar, Russell, Magic, Kidd, LeBron, Wilt, Bird.
Wow, I can't believe Bird was that far down the list.
I think he played less than everybody else. He had that back problem after year 8.
Yeah.
He got limited time, and then he retired after year 12.
All right, well, I'll go ahead and spout mine off. What player on my list played college in the University of California, Los Angeles? UCLA.
Reggie Miller?
I'm going Reggie.
You only have one player on your list from UCLA? Is that what you're saying?
I'm just saying, what player? I don't know.
Reggie Miller.
Yeah, we'll go with
Reggie
Reggie
Miller.
Miller.
Okay, there you go. I was trying to be easy here, and you're
I
being
just wanted to make sure I was getting it right here. Like, yeah, if we say Reggie, then there's another one.
you're being too technical about this. I was
He
trying
knows
to make
I
it
need
easy.
points. He's trying to help me out here.
Was that everybody?
Yep, that's everyone.
All right, so after this week, the points are as stands. Ray with 6, Doug with 10, Alex with 12, Wade with 13, and Drew with 14. Not a lot of movement this week. Not a lot of correct answers. But
No.
Guess I got to hit the books.
well, we appreciate you listening. We're going to wrap up today. We'll be back next Thursday with Sports the Nemo Way with our episode on Dikembe Mutombo. Yes, and Ray will be defending him as well. I know a lot of Ray-centric episodes here recently. But yes, Dikembe Mutombo will be next week, so tune in to Sports the Nemo Way.